While we can use specific numbers to refer to exact times in the day, there's also this set of words we can use to refer to parts of the day in more general terms. There's a word we use for the time of day when we first wake up, the time of day we go to sleep, and names for times of day in between. So why don't we look into where these words or times of day actually came from? But before we continue, I have to take a moment to talk about something. I haven't got a script for this bit, so it might be a little bit rambly, but we're going to see how we go. Just over a week ago, at the time of this video going live, I put out a very important special video on the channel talking about the future of the channel and how stressful the last 6 years have been from a financial standpoint. And I talked about wanting more support on Patreon, and my goodness, did you guys respond in a huge way. It was eye-opening. It was beyond amazing see how many people decided to become patrons after watching that video. Thank you so much for doing that. If you haven't watched that video yet, please do go check it out. It's quite potentially one of the most important videos I'll ever make here on the channel. So if you want to watch at least one other name explain video, maybe go watch that one. But as I normally do in these Monday videos, I like to list everyone who's become a patron in the most recent weeks. This is for about 2 weeks now, I suppose. 1 week? 2 weeks? Yeah, a bit over a week by now at this point. So, should we get on with it? I've got all the names on my phone here, so apologies for looking down on my phone. Hopefully Amber will have your names lovely on the screen here while I read them. But I need to say a huge thank you to patrons Dave Ostroke, Corrine Montana, Jack Wren, Laz Ward, Craig Frummond, Puck Follander, Bluetooth the Pirate, Robin Renee, Brandy Lovato, Ali R, Loomis, Trilithium, Christopher Miles, Let's Have a Chat, Hector, Acronis, Jaguar's Rule, Thomas Espinoza, Alan Rosenwinkel, Jordan Stevenson, Don Schumann, Luis Arenz, Bruce Cafas, Graham Smith, John A, Javier Campos, Mans Gleabach, Ben West, Elizabeth Charles, Tristan Brooks, Mark Lamorine, Yelv Welburn, Parker, Chris Leeming, Phil Hobrala, Graham B, Maris Bezak, Chris Rosalex, Zach, Penny Spencer, Cowhawk, Girlboss Too Close to the Sun, Stephanie P, Sinead DB, Billy the Blue Effin Ranger Cranston, Jonathan Crouchner, Butter Biscuit, Tomaz Brucker, Kaluna Nightwolf, David LeCount, Flamin Coprof, Brettas Maximus, Skypaws BCP, David Swinstead, RV3392, Natasha Brown, Arkanaut, Matt, Ravi Patel, Steve DeGoat, Kellum Johnson, Charlie Cummins, Steve Rogers, Scott Rogers, not Steve Rogers, not Captain America, let's carry on, Stephen Don, Stephanie Leach, Sam Corkos, and Johan Nelson. Thank you all so much. There might have been a few more patrons since filming this video. You'll be covered next time, I promise you for sure. Wow, and on top of that, a lot of people current patrons upped their pledge as well. It's been amazing. Hopefully Patreon will keep Name Explain going for a lot longer now. We can still, it's going to sound so awful, but we can still have a bit more money on there maybe. If you are interested in supporting Patreon, that would help out amazingly. I'm so beyond grateful for anyone who chooses to donate. Patreon.com/Name Explain. Yeah, just incredible. Thank you all so much. Amber, apologies about how many names we have to flash up on the screen on this one, but they're all worth it. Each one of those names represents someone who was kind enough to help support this channel because they enjoy the silly little videos I make enough to donate their hard-earned cash, and I love that. Get emotional now. Thank you so much. Let's carry on with this actual video, shall we? Gosh, anyway, after all that, we should actually look into one of these words for a time of day, right? For most of us, the day starts with the morning. This is the time of day we wake up, have breakfast, all that good stuff. Morning started life as the Old English word morwen, which came from the word morn, which was the name for this time. Eventually the ing suffix got added for some reason. This initial morn word might have come from root meaning blink/twinkle, maybe due to the twinkling lights that are out in the early morning. For some time, morning was also morrow in English, and it was from morrow we got tomorrow from too, as in the day after this one. This means that morning and tomorrow are very closely related words etymologically. In fact, in some languages, they're actually the exact same word. Like in German, morning and tomorrow are both morgen. That must get so confusing, like I'll see you in morgen. Do you mean tomorrow, or do you mean in the morning? Like, I guess in most cases, that would be the exact same thing. If you're saying to someone you'll see them in the morning, that will probably mean you're seeing them tomorrow, because like, yeah, that makes sense. Germans. So logical, sensible people. I love that for them. After the morning, we arrive at noon, the middle of the day. Noon is a really weird one. We might use it to refer to the middle of the day in general, but in reality, noon is a mere instant. On a traditional clock, it might seem like 1 minute, as in like 12 o'clock, as in 12:00. That's just noon. That's like the 1 minute of noon. But noon is even less than a minute. Noon is literally that exact moment of 12 o'clock. So the moment it goes a second past noon, even a millisecond past noon, noon is done. But we'll go on to what comes after noon in a moment, slight spoiler. But what's even stranger about noon is the origin of that name. Noon comes from the word non ora, which means the ninth hour. This is because noon was once used to describe the ninth hour after sunrise, which in most cases actually lands around 3 p.m. Of course, today, noon isn't used to refer to 3 p.m. It was seemingly shifted to 12 p.m. as that just made more sense. That was more the middle of the day. So yeah, 3 p.m. isn't the middle of the day. Have I ever talked about my hatred of 3 p.m? It's too late to start something, like for your day, and it's too early to start something for your evening. I generally think 3 p.m. is the worst time. Let me know what you think the worst time is down below. But anyway, the Romans were good at a lot of things, but their timekeeping skills were strange, like we covered in our recent video about how they broke up months. Thankfully, however, the time afternoon has a pretty self-explanatory name. As I hinted at, it's just called afternoon, because, you know, it's after noon. The afternoon lasts for quite a bit of time during the day, but as the sun starts to set again, we arrive at the evening. Evening is when many of us eat our final meals of the day, watch some naff television, and eventually go to bed. Like with morning, the ing suffix was added later down the line. Originally this word was just evening, or eve, and eve still gets used today with terms like Christmas Eve. The only issue with all this, however, is that we aren't entirely sure as to where the word of eve comes from. We know it comes from the Old English earfen, but beyond that, we have no idea what it means. I personally like to think it might come from even, as in something that isn't odd, as the evening evens out the day between light and dark. Though that's just my own idea, but there might be a smudge of truth to it from what I've read. And finally, we arrive at the night, which is when it's dark out and you should be in bed. Nighttime is a thing that has existed for a pretty long time now. In fact, all of these times of day have been entrenched into human civilization forever. I say this because, like in many other cases, we aren't entirely sure what night really means or where it comes from. The best ideas we have, it might come from an old word of neg, meaning to be dark, which makes some sense. And what I need to stress, I mentioned about nighttime is for bedtime. Get your sleep, team. I used to stay up all night playing video games and doing all kinds of fun activities, but I'm in bed by like 9 p.m. most nights. Yeah, so get some sleep. It's good for you, I promise. The last name I want to highlight is Twilight. This is the name for that time of day when the sun is just below the horizon in the morning and evening. It's a very pretty little time of day. The fact it happens twice in a day is where the name comes from too. The twi part means twice, and the light part means, well, light. It's the twice light. Another great term for twilight is dimpsy, which is used especially in the west country of England, which is where I am right now. How fun. I mean, I'm here most of the time, but I'm here in this exact moment. It's not dimpsy out just yet. Give a few more hours and it will be. Let me know your favourite time of day down below. Are you a morning person or more of a night person? Also, please suggest a topic down below which we could cover in next Monday's Name Explain video. It could be about literally anything, and the topic can be as niche or broad as you like. I will then choose 3 of those topics and place them in a poll for my patrons to vote on. Then the winner from that poll will be the topic covered in next Monday's Name Explain video. You can vote in that poll, as well as enjoy many other great benefits by visiting patreon.com/nameexplain, which will be linked down below, and by donating just $1 a month. Thank you, and I need to say that again, guys. Thank you so much for all your amazing support on Patreon recently. It's been beyond amazing. Like, this feels like this is doable now, as I talked about in that video. Like I said, go check that video out. Anyway, that's more than enough for myself. But don't forget to go follow me on Instagram where I Name Explain YT. And don't forget to join the Facebook page, Friends of Name Explain, where you can chat with myself and many other name nerds. Okay all, take care. We've got a lot of Patreon names to go through, but more on that later. Let's do this. Set of words we use to refer to days. Blah. We should actually look into one of those words. Blah. Thankfully, having the time... watch some NAF television. Right, now I need to film this big old patron bit. There we go. Told you a lot on there. It was like 60 plus names on there or so. So probably won't be that every week, but celebrate it when we can. Thank you. Oh, I hit the thing.